Toe drag. This is Explore Green Bay. Well, I was in a lot of bands in high school, and after a while, you have a lot of problems with bandmates, drummers not showing up and shit. And I realized hip hop, you don't need any of that. You make a beat, you rap by yourself in your room, and really made me self-sufficient and want to go that route. My main influences over time were Earl Sweatshirt in high school and Tyler the Creator really sparked my rapping. And then after that, I really got into MF Doom and later Jack Progresso, who was still pretty underground. And I would say he was one of the biggest influences on my style. And I actually came in contact with him and he gave me a lot of good advice in the beginning. I produced 3 beats for Desert Deity by Asic the Occult Father a couple months back. Those have been doing good numbers. I really think that in Green Bay, there's really room for a more complicated, conscious rapper. And I thought I could fill that space, like there was a void for it. But I really just feel like a black sheep now. It is what it is. Really just lets you escape the pain of just being a human. Like the day-to-day shit. And when you make a good song, you get to be a god for that amount of time. Then every time you listen to it, they can't take that away from you. Always been into hip-hop. Started with Dr. Dre when I was like 8 years old. My grandma got me this greatest hip-hop hit CD, so it was Dr. Dre, The Humpty Dance, freaking Grandmaster Flash from the beginning, which is really the roots of hip-hop, and I really like to get into that early sampling stage of hip-hop. That's what I like best. I really think that social media and the way the record companies are set up is really a popularity game, because an artist like Jack Progresso, who I look up to, and a lot of rappers would consider their favorite rapper, doesn't get the recognition, numbers, or money, and he still just struggles to live, even though most people would call him one of the best rappers. It's really a popularity contest, and I hope that more people go independent in the future to take more power away from the record companies. My favorite song would probably be Reverend Norb off Yallo, my first album, because when that sample came together and it clicked, it just became this huge orchestra of just insanity. And then the lyrics matched that. And it's titled Reverend Norb because Reverend Norb was one of the most famous punk artists in Green Bay in the 1980s. He was in the band Rev Norb and the Onions. And to this day, he's still a big figure in our city. And I wanted to pay him tribute. Proud of that. Well, I have big goals. One day I'd like to be in contact with MF Doom, wherever that man is, somewhere in England nowadays. Earl Sweatshirt, same thing, but I really just want to make good music, and I really stopped worrying about collaborations. I came in contact with a lot of my influences and just realized it's better off to do it on your own, because they're just normal people too. I would describe it as kind of like postmodern rap. Like, rap has pretty much been pushed as far as you can push it, and so has horrorcore. It can only get so cheesy or so realistic, but when you really merge everything from all the decades of rap into the verses and like try and do something new with it, that's what I'm going for. I want my samples to be strange and almost unlistenable, but still get your head bobbing. Best advice. When speaking to Jack Progresso, I really asked him what it's like to be him and what it's like to keep going and like what do you eventually get out of it. And his answer was essentially like, he still feels that way. He's still building every day. And I think a lot of artists feel that way. Like, it never ends. It's a constant progression. It's a constant fight and battle. And like, people who make music aren't exactly normal. And like, It's almost like fighting a mental illness, but you got to feed into it and you get a lot out of it. I'm hoping to assemble another album, hopefully a full-length album. I want to really put the work into it and do some collaborations in the next couple months and just kind of get out there and promote my first two albums, because I put so much work into them that I kind of fell off the map and didn't promote them at the time. And I'm out here. Favorite place to eat? R.I.P. Polito's Pizza. Honestly, I used to go there all the time. I'd skate down there. But now it's Taco Burrito 24/7, East Side only. Not currently, but I am in talks with Dream Hakeem. And I usually always do visuals for my videos, but I would like to do a real video. Most trouble. Well, I was driving through De Pere on my way home from work, smoking, of course, and all of a sudden there's a cop behind me. And I'm like, am I getting pulled over or is he passing through? So I fucking lost his ass. I went super fast, and when I got home, they were there waiting for me. I lost my license and a good chunk of money, so don't run from the cops. Allows people to go viral quickly, but also there's so much music out there that you could just get buried. Because back in the day, you'd need a record deal to record stuff, and now iPhones are sufficient on their own. You can get a mic for $100 and sit in your closet like Toe Drag here. Like, anybody can make music, but only a few people can make good music. Unfortunately, it can still get buried. As much as it sucks not having a big scene here, and I've heard Trevor say this as well, it really lets you be seen if you are talented and you put the work in. There's not a huge scene here and not a lot of competition. So I do like that aspect, but I also wish I could go cypher and like go to rap battles and events. But I like that small town feel because, you know, it lets you feel like you could take the shit over, like you could be the king of Green Bay if you make a good enough rap album. My creative process is all over. Recently, for the last two albums, I went sober from smoking, and I was on a lot of caffeine, and basically I'd spend the day combing for samples, and then once I got that sample, I'd try to write a verse all at once, even if it took 6 hours, because I'd want it to be cohesive. And I really take my time with bars, and sometimes I'll write 2 songs worth of material and squish it down into a verse so all of it's quality. And I really feel that's the best way to do it, because a lot of verses have fillers nowadays, and like every word matters when you're rapping, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. Go check out my Bandcamp at toedrag.bandcamp.com. Both albums available free to download. Sleepwalking Sociopath is mostly exclusive to Bandcamp at this moment. And also go check out A6 album Desert Deity. That's A6 the Occult Father. And yeah, man, this is my first interview.